I'm Aveline, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So today we are building with The Sims 4 Werewolves, the new GP that is coming out on Thursday. And because of that, I do have to say thank you to the EA Creator Network for making this video possible. We are building, what are we building today? I wanted to build a tiny house, but as you can see, because I'm building on a 20 by 15 lot right now, but unfortunately I could not control the size of this house. That just kept getting bigger and bigger, so I ended up moving it over to the 30 by 30, which I believe is actually the second smallest lot in this world. I think there's, oh my gosh, I don't even remember. Is it 240 by 30s as well? I honestly don't remember. There's another one that's like a square too. Listen, okay, so I had issues with my game yesterday. I am not gonna lie, like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I had issues with my game yesterday. For some reason, it didn't want to open once I had installed the GP. It's a press copy, I suppose, so it's not the one that you're gonna be able to buy off the website, by the way. But for some reason, it wasn't working for me. So I kept trying to do these different fixes because apparently I wasn't the only one having issues with it. Other people seem to also have some issues, and they were coming up with different fixes that you could try out to see if you could get it to work then, but it wasn't really working for me. I don't know, turns out I had to repair the game twice while also taking out some mods, but it took me like a long time to figure that out. So by the end, I was like, listen, I did the build buy overview. Now we're gonna move on to the house build that I want to do for the first day, because I always do that on the first day of early access. I always do a build. So let's do a tiny house. That's all I feel like I got time for now. I have to make sure I also get some sleep because tomorrow is gonna be yet another long day. And then I decided to just not know how to make a tiny house apparently. It just, like I said, the house kept getting bigger and bigger. I don't know. So I ended up moving it to a 30 by 30, which is actually a pretty nice lot. I'm not gonna lie. The lighting is a little bit weird overall in Moonwood Mill. My gosh, did I remember it for a change? I think I remembered it. Okay. I'm impressed with myself right now. Please, let's just soak it in. I remembered the name of the new world. Wow, it's a miracle. But my point is that because it had taken me so long to do the overview as well, but also get the game to work and install and everything, I basically ended up starting this house at like 11 and didn't finish it until 4:30. So when I finally went to bed, I was so done, I was so tired that I basically, when I got up again today, before I had to edit and everything, I wanted to open up the game and make sure that everything actually looked okay. And I was really nervous to do that, to open the game, because I don't know if I've missed anything. It turns out the only thing I missed were outdoors trash cans, so we are good though. I've placed those down for you, so you should be all fine. I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I do have to point out though, because I realized that there's been certain talk over on Twitter in regards to early access, but I don't have to post anything during early access. I choose to, so I decided myself to stay up super late. This is the thing I usually do when I build, actually, just like normal houses too. I prefer to get them done on the day that I start them, because otherwise the video will end up being super late the next day, because I have to finish up the house and everything. I just prefer to have them done before I go to bed. That's just how I work as a person. So I just want to make that clear. I don't have to post anything. I choose to. So just because I tweeted a little bit about me being nervous about opening the game and seeing the build. And unfortunately, the tweet was taken seriously. It was just a joke, but just want to make it clear, we're all good here, mental health wise. I'm fine. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm fine. So, but as for the house, like I said, we're building on a 30 by 30. I was trying to get the layout of the lot settled before I started doing anything with the floor plan. So that's what we're doing right now. Just trying to go through the debug catalog, see if I can find some fun things in there that we could use for the landscaping too, because I really didn't want to do much with like, oh, here's a gardening area or here's a pool. I feel like it doesn't really fit this area. I don't know about you, but I don't see werewolves as being big on having pools. They don't seem like It doesn't seem like it would fit this kind of vibe that we got going on in Moonwood Mill. It doesn't seem like it would fit with the clothing style, which, by the way, I wanted to do a cast overview, but because I didn't finish the build by overview recording it until 11, I figured, I did the math, I wouldn't have the time to also do a build after, so I decided to scrap it. It's just because it took too long to get the game running, actually. I also had some issues with recording, which was super annoying, so... But those are fixed. Everything just went wrong yesterday. Of course it does. Once, you know, you gotta... on the day where everything has to work, that's always when everything just goes to bleh, you know? Like, that's when it stops going smoothly on those days. It's always like that, so I was having a bit of a day like that yesterday, but we're all good now. And as for the house itself, it is for a total of 3 Sims actually, so a pair of parents, or just a single parent if you prefer that kind of gameplay. And also, I think I ended up making the other bedroom for a toddler, I think, because I didn't think I could fit in the bunk beds. Although we do have a single bed as well, I don't know why I didn't think about that, but I kind of forgot that that was the situation. Although I will say I don't think it would actually fit into the room. The room that the toddler is sleeping in is a little bit weird, like the shape of the room, so you'll see that once we get to the floor plan. It's, the house itself is very much made up, so floor plans are always a little bit fun to do when you just kind of start building, and by that I mean, like, there was no inspiration picture used for this house. I just kind of started it, and I had to add shape to it as I was building. Because of that, nothing is really fully planned out, if that makes sense. And that means, like, you want to add some shape to the house, so yeah, you have to add, like, a bump here and another bump there, and by bumps I mean, like, squares added to the house, boxes, because houses are made out of boxes, right? It just... because there's no plan to start out with, because I just jumped into it, the floor plan itself is kind of an afterthought, so I hope I'm making sense right now. I'm sure I am to some of you, but I wouldn't judge you if you're kind of lost with my explanation here, but what I mean is that because the house is kind of like, oh, let's add a little bit of shape over here to this part of the house, let's add a little bit of shape over here, it's kind of a bit messy once you actually start to look at the inside of the house, because then suddenly you got all these little bump outs, and it's hard to make a floor plan when you just got a lot of bump outs. I don't know how to... a lot of corners. Like, it's nice to have corners when you do floor plans, but there can also be too many corners, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I don't know if it's making sense to you. Anyway, the floor plan turned out kind of funky. We made it work, but it's a little bit funky. And by we, I mean me. I don't know. I'm alone in this. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said we. No one's helping with with this. It's just me alone in my office. But and also a little bit sleep deprived. So if I'm all over the place, that would be why. I hope I'm excused. Anywho, so as for, yeah, I think I actually skipped some of the floor planning, to be honest. I ended up giving the parents their own ensuite bathroom, I think. And then I've made sure, by the way, to put potties in all of the bathrooms. There's 2 bathrooms on the 2nd floor along with 2 bedrooms, and also I thought they'd kind of appreciate that. Once the toddler turns into a kid and eventually a teen, it would be nice for them to have their own bathroom that's close to their bedroom. But there's also one on the ground floor, because I know it's super annoying for toddlers when they can't actually walk. You have to carry them up and down the stairs. So it's to make it a little bit more accessible and easier for the toddler to manage to get to the bathroom in time, basically. I tried to use as many items from the new pack as possible. I will say, in my not so professional opinion, that these items don't necessarily go super well in this sort of setting. I see them being used for more like hangouts instead of family homes. So it would be like container builds, for example, underground layers, you know, stuff like that, or sheds, to be honest, but not this kind of like huge family home situation. I just didn't really think it through before I started building. I just kind of had to get started on something. So the next build is probably going to be a little bit smaller, I think, first of all, because your girl needs some sleep tonight, That's for sure. But also, I think I have an idea of what I want to build, something a little bit more atmospheric compared to this one. This is basically me deciding to build something and then just trying to get use out of as many possible or as many items as possible from the new pack. So that's what we're doing today. I hope you guys like the build anyway. Also, I will say just before I forget, but this will not be on the gallery until Thursday, which is tomorrow. Yes. So it'll be up once it's available to everyone. I'll probably just upload it in the evening when the other build goes live, so that'll be around like 6, 7 or something, unless I suck at uploading, which sometimes I do, so I might be a little late on it, but it'll be up at some point tomorrow. And that also counts for the tray files. They'll be up on Patreon tomorrow as well. So if you go looking for this house on the gallery tonight, you will not be able to find it, but it will be up tomorrow, Thursday, and that is the 16th of June 2022 for those of you who are watching in the future. It's funny because I keep getting comments on various old videos from people that clearly don't look at the date that the video was published, and they've just quickly gone on the gallery to see if they could find the build. But the build has been up on the gallery for like years or months, and I'm like, you might have to scroll back a little bit because they're like, I can't find it. Yeah, that's because you have to scroll way, way back on the gallery. Like, it's way, way back. I build a lot of houses. There's a lot of houses to go through before you get to a very specific one that I uploaded probably 3 years ago. But anyway, so yeah, just so you know, it won't be up until tomorrow. That was my point. I try to make this less colorful as well. I do appreciate some of the swatches for the couch, especially. I think I've set my point on the couch. I really like the couch, but it feels like it's also one of those couches that's kind of been missing, because we do have a lot of nicer looking couches, but we've not really had one that looks, except from one from maybe Eco Lifestyle, but it looks a little bit like, it looks DIY, but it looks like it's still sort of polished DIY. This one just looks like it's been used for years and years, and I really appreciate that. I'm pretty sure I've done at least 10 builds where I felt like this couch probably would have fit in, but we just didn't have it at the time, because it looks like one that you could have found by going to the, where people dump their furniture. I forgot what it's called for a second, but you know that place. And then they've seen this couch and they've just thought, well, we can stitch it together. It'll be perfectly like fine, like bright as new or good as new, however you say that. And they've just kind of taken it with them. It looks like that sort of couch, and I really like that vibe for it. So I don't know. I feel like it works for a lot of different interiors, and it's not like one we've had before, because the other ones that look kind of used are just sort of stained, if that makes sense. Like maybe they've had kids who don't know how to not eat on the couch and have spilled orange juice or something. That's very specific, but you get my point, right? Okay. So I really like the couch. I like it because it's different. But as for the rest of the, I don't know, there's a fun vibe to the furniture in this pack. Like, I think some of it goes perfectly together, and then there are pieces like the couch. If you compare that to the mirror, for example, the mirror almost looks a little bit high-end in a way. Like, that's a very well-crafted mirror. Both, it's very round, it's not cracked, it has a shelf unit on it that is a crescent moon. It looks very well crafted. If you compare that, if you place that next to or above the couch, they wouldn't necessarily go super well together, and it is like that with some of the furniture. Like the couch right here, or not the couch, that's a desk. The desk right there looks super used, but then you got one of the shelving units looks very nice as well. Like, it's funny. There's a funny mix there. I will say I appreciate that some of the furniture does have swatches of both kinds. So the more polished, look, I cannot speak today. Listen, it's a problem. Anyway, some of the more polished looking swatches, but you also got the more used, worn swatches as well. So I don't know, there's a bit of a mix, but I will say some of the items don't necessarily seem like they look like they would go perfectly together in a way. And it's not like it's the biggest pack, it's just a GP, so we're not supposed to have a lot of different styles represented in the build by catalog. It's supposed to be mainly one. So I will say for this kind of like bigger house, it's also I find it very difficult to only use the new pack. So I try to tone it down in this one. I tried to use, for example, in here, I would have thought maybe the Jungle Adventure counters would have fit a little bit better because they have a rustic look to them, but I decided to go for some of the base game ones just to make sure that I wasn't overusing packs in this build, but I found it difficult. I think I tried to do the same with my wedding stories actually for the first build, so just use as many of the items from the new pack, but then it kind of turned out that that was a little bit of a challenge because we didn't really get a lot of house stuff. It kind of feels like that a little bit with this one. Like, a lot of the furniture is very specifically made for certain kinds of builds and not necessarily this kind of build. And that's okay, because you're not necessarily supposed to be building these kinds of houses. That's just what I decided to do for this house. So the next one, I'll probably say, it'll probably be a little bit more pack appropriate, but also I will probably let myself use more stuff from the other packs just so I can make sure that everything actually looks exactly like I want it to, if that makes sense, and just go wild with it if I'm making sense. But yeah. But I just wanna say again, I do like the vibe of this pack. It's fun, it's very specific, it's definitely not versatile, but it is very centered on this vibe that I do appreciate. So I do enjoy the items. I see myself using them in certain situations. Probably not the normal family home or a Scandi family home. I like to do those. They would definitely not fit in well into one of those houses, but for certain kinds of builds, I would see myself using these, and I feel like some of the items are also items that we have been missing for these kinds of builds, like the runaway houses that I've been doing, and also these like container homes or rundown family homes, like those kinds of builds. We have been missing certain kinds of items to make those look a little bit more theme clean, if you will. I don't know how to say that in other words, so I hope you get what I mean. But anyway, so we're working on the upstairs. I actually did most of the exterior before I moved on to the interior, so at some point I move on to their shed, which is a little bit more like a hangout area. I think the two parents living in this house are probably a little bit on the younger side. They're definitely werewolves. I don't know if I managed to put in every werewolf item that they need, because honestly, I did not have time to look into that. But I hope I managed. So there's a couple of items. There's a bit of a hangout situation going on in the shed next to the house, or the cabin next to the house, or whatever that kind of building is called, where they also have workout equipment and stuff. So once we get to that part of this build, that's actually the last thing that we do. I think this might be the last room that we're decorating inside of the house. I was having issues with decorating for a toddler. That bed is that's so funny. I never noticed how it's like tilted. I don't know how to, it's crooked. The bed is crooked. I didn't notice before. But I was having a few issues decorating this because we did get a bed. However, that's all we got for toddler rooms. We got two toys as well. One is a sheep and the other one is a wolf. And I think those are the two toys, right? There's definitely a sheep and a wolf. Maybe there are 3 toys total. I think that's just 2, anyway. But that's it. That's all we got for toddlers, as far as I remember, at least. So I was, oh yeah, and these decals as well. So I was having a few issues decorating this house so it fit with the rest of the house. That is the thing to keep in mind. If you like family gameplay with actual children and stuff, decorating those rooms might be a little bit of a challenge if you want to make sure that everything is kind of on theme. It was a little bit of a weird one to figure out, but it ended up looking like it did. I did my best, so. And this is the shed cabin next to the house. I don't know what you want to call it, but that's what I'm gonna go with. And this is where they have their kind of hangout area. That's basically only 2 workout machines and then a couch and the coffee table, but the workout machines also took up so much space that I couldn't really fit in anything else. I just figured it would be nice for these younger parents to have this extra room kind of outside of the house, so away from the toddler, where they could wolf out together with their friends and stuff. So that's what this is. That's what I'm trying to do here. Eventually, at some point, you could turn this into another bedroom situation if you want to. So if the toddler turns into a teen at some point and they need a bigger bedroom, they could have their own little shed out here. You know, it's cool. But anyways, that is it for today. So I hope you all liked this build. Like I said, it'll be up on Thursday, so keep an eye out for it if you're interested. I will update you over on the community tab as well, but that is all I got for you guys today. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Quiet voices in the night. Time is running out of sight. A lonely wind is passing by. Tries to carry all the whispers that it finds. The walls are listening when we talk, making echoes as we walk. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see. Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away. Build a secret place for you and me. Let our minds be caught up in a dream. Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes. There's no one left but you and me. It's like a made-up place that only we can see.